Hey everybody, it's Aldo Gandia, and I just want to let you know really quickly that our swag shop is reopened. DeepDishTees.com is where you go, and that's tees with T-E-E-S. Clever name, guys. They're the new home of our merchandise. You can get t-shirts, you can get caps, you can get coffee mugs, you can get hoodies, you can get all sorts of good stuff, and you'll help out the bar room with the purchase. So head over to DeepDishTees.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bare Truth. My name is Aldo Gandia, and the handsome gentleman and always fit gentleman beside me is Danny. Danny, how are you, brother?
How are you doing? Thank you so much for that intro.
Yeah,
flatter me all the time, Aldo. Seriously,
you deserve it. I keep reading all these compliments you're getting on social media, the great work that you're doing. Very proud of you, man. You're going to be a superstar in another 10, 20 years.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You're all to you. And when I get up there, I get my whatever award or some sort of award. I'm like, I thank Mr. Aldo Gandia. He's the Godfather. He
rest in peace.
No. You'll be up there with me.
Oh, cool. Hey, I got to tell you, I am one lucky guy. First, because I get to do this show with you, but secondly, because I had time to put these plays together because you were unable to because of your schedule. So we were probably just going to sit around and talk football and stuff. But I said, you know what? There's no Mike North show today. So let me use that time to put together some plays. And then I went overboard after I finished working on Crosstown Crosstalk with the Parisi brothers. I added some more stuff. So I think we got a really interesting show for people. And one of the things that I wanted you to talk about before we get into the highlights and tape review is you said, I don't know if it was last week or 2 shows ago, you talked about the importance of momentum. You said some people disregard it, but I believe on it. So please expound on that.
Yeah. So for me, football is a big game of momentum, right? There's a lot of swings. It could be a play, it could be a series that could change the outcome of a football game. And that's something that for me, I've been watching football all my life, having studied the game. You'll see a series, a team will be in command, up by 10 points, 17 points, whatnot. And the next thing you know, there's a turnover. There's a block punt on special teams, something that creates the other team's juices, gets their flowing and it gets them believing again back into the game. And that to me shifts momentum. Next thing you know, they take that ball, that turnover, they go and score. Now it's a 10-point game, a one possession game, and that just builds off that. And the defense now is pumped up because now they know if they get the opposing offense off the field, hey, lo and behold, my offense can get the ball back. They just went down and scored. Maybe they can score again. And I've seen it happen throughout the years. Momentum is a big time, can shift the game big time for me. And I think every Sunday, if you watch a game from start to finish, there you can probably pinpoint 2 or 3 plays or maybe series where you saw that the momentum of that football game helped determine the outcome.
Perfectly said, and I could not agree with you more. Momentum is, in fact, also the theme of this week's show, because when I went back and kind of looked at, well, what plays, do I think Danny would want? Then I remembered you talking about momentum, and I said, boy, there were some momentum shifts in this game. And so the very first series, the Packers go out there, and they have like a 6 or 7 play series. The Bears defense holds them. Robert Quinn gets a sack. Things are looking good. The Bears march downfield, a beautiful drive. They score a touchdown. All right, momentum is on the side of the Bears, right?
Exactly.
Add to that the Packers then come out and are 3 and out. And I'm thinking to myself, holy cow, this is awesome. We're going to beat these guys. I'm so happy. Danny and I are going to have a great show. We're going to be happy. But then that's not what happens on the Bears' second possession. they start moving the ball downfield fairly well, but at midfield, this happens. The interception because he thought he had a free play. It's just go ahead, please.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, he was not the only one. I thought for sure there was infraction to a neutral zone. The defender got off; it was offsides. I thought it was a free play as well. I'm thinking, all right, smart kid, just throw it up there. Let's see what happens. Maybe you can draw a penalty or whatnot, and you get the ball even closer. But unfortunately, the referees, ended up, in basketball we call swallowing the whistle. Here they're swallowing their flag. But I just don't get it. That's clear as day right there. I feel like Kenny Clark jumped into the neutral zone, clear offsides, but they didn't call it. So that was the one thing. But the other thing on this play, if we have another angle of it right here, stop right there. He's got Allen Robinson open right here. So even if Justin Fields, and we're going to get into more of Justin Fields, how he missed some opportunity he left some plays out on the field. Right there, he's got a clean pocket. No one's around him. If you take a look at the Allen Robinson run down that seam right there, he's got inside leverage. He's got no defender in the middle of the field. You release that ball, you throw it to Allen Robinson, even if you know or you think there's a flag on a play. That's a huge play right there. And Allen Robinson goes ahead and could probably even score on that if you hit him in stride. Yep. So that's an opportunity right there where Justin Fields misses. He held onto the football a little bit too long here and then just ended up just throwing the ball, chucking the ball downfield. Robinson stops his route, as you see here at the end of the route. And the ball is on the way to the end zone, and just Darnell Savage is there to pick it off. So a couple of missed opportunities there, obviously with the offsides that wasn't called. And then he had Robinson early on. And that's the one thing going over this film with Justin Fields is there are times where he just holds on to the football for whatever reason. We've seen him against Detroit, against the Raiders, him going ahead and just letting that ball go. Even in this game, second half, that fourth quarter drive where they cut it to a one-score game, you saw Justin Fields with timing, anticipation, letting it rip, kind of just going out there making some backyard, schoolyard plays or something, something like that, just kind of playing and being free. So that's the things these are things that, you kind of expect from rookies. I expect him to go ahead and look at the tape, learn from his mistakes, and know the next time that he's got to be able to just pull a trigger on those plays, because that would have been a huge completion right there to Allen Robinson.
Boy, I can't tell you. I looked at that tape 10 times and you spotted it. I didn't realize that he had A-Rob open down that seam. And if he would have done, what traditionally a quarterback does, he would have hit him for what I don't think he would have got to the end zone because he's not the fastest guy in the world, but it would have been an explosive play, and the momentum then continues in the Bears' favor.
Exactly, because he had a clean pocket. He had, there was no defender near A-Rob to the inside. That inside linebacker was actually drifting away from the play. A-Rob had clear inside leverage. All right. And that was right there. As soon as I saw that play, I'm like, on all 22s, I'm like, dude, he missed it right there. That was a huge play right there. Didn't even have to pump or throw it into the end zone for that Hail Mary attempt though. But going back to, in terms of if this happens again, where if the player, or if he feels like the player is offside on the opposing defense, first make sure there's a flag, and then go ahead and try and make a big play. Even if the ball is picked off, you always get the ball back because of a defensive play. I like my quarterbacks having that attack mentality, that aggressive mentality. That, but first you got to confirm that's a flag on the field. Now I think that's a little bit harder, especially when you're in the pocket or you have defenders coming at you. But that's something that the NFL quarterbacks get used to. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best in the business at doing that, drawing defensive players off sides and just knowing he's got a free play. So I hope that's another thing that Justin Fields is going to go ahead and kind of look at, review, and take a lesson there as well. But again, that he had a huge play right there potentially to Allen Robinson. He just didn't pull trigger on it prior to even letting that football go downfield.
Ronnie points out that Mario Edwards' taunting call was a momentum killer for the Bears too. It actually changed the game in favor of the Packers. I'm not quite sure it did that much because it happened, I believe. I'll look it up. But when the ball was being exchanged, so it was weren't the Bears taking over on that call?
It was, I believe it's a second or third down, and then it extended the drive. But I thought
Okay.
the Bears were able to get him off the field, if I'm
Yes,
not mistaken.
that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
it
Because I was
extended the drive. It was another dumb penalty by Mario Edwards, and that's that's an issue that reflects back on the coaching staff in terms of being able to get your players under control. But
Mhm.
I don't think, and I could be wrong, and Ronnie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the Packers ended up scoring on that drive. So I think the
Yeah, I'm
Bears were,
looking it up right now.
the drive was extended, but I think the Bears were able to get him off the field.
Yeah, I remember looking at it and thinking to myself, okay, well, this could be an example of momentum killer. But I then, it wasn't done that first series. Wait a minute. It was on their touchdown. It was on their
So Texas
touchdown
scored.
drive.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
I stand corrected. Then yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
it's the very first play after this interception that Fields threw. So it was a continuation of bad momentum. Ronnie, you're absolutely right. You're the
Right.
man, brother.
Yep, good call, Ronnie. Yep,
Yes.
exactly. Those are things that actually continue drives, and that could lead to a momentum shift in the game. So right there, Bears had control of the game. We talked about right now Fields, thinking there was a offsides, not getting that call, throwing an interception, missing the opportunity to hit Allen Robinson with the big play to continue the momentum on the Bears side. But yes, the ball turns over to the Packers, and that penalty on Mario Edwards, another dumb penalty. Extends that drive, and then they go ahead and score. So right there, perfect case example right there, taking the momentum away from the Bears and making it onto, or giving it to the Packers there.
Right. Great job, Ronnie. And hold that thought, because we've got more on that series coming up. But I want to get back to what Justin Fields should do on that interception. So I got two comments, one from Aaron Rodgers himself, who is the master at it, and one from offensive coordinator Bill Lazor. So this is a great question by Mark Potash. I listen to a lot of these interviews, and Mark always asks very insightful questions. So he asked Aaron Rodgers, can you basically help this kid out with how you do it? And so I cut a little bit of the beginning out, but this is the gist of it.
But most times, including 12 on the field, I'll peek to the line judge to the side of the foul and just make sure that there's a flag coming out. Now, I think there's been a couple times over the years where we think we've got him and we didn't, and maybe I didn't check, but because of those reasons, I usually like to check and make sure that flag's in there.
So let me add to that with Bill Lazor's comment.
Flag? No, you can't. You're not always going to see the flag. It's helpful when you see the flag. It's easy for me to the booth to say, why the heck didn't they throw the flag? But if he's always looking for the flag, the ball's just got to come out fast. So immediately he has to start scanning.
That's what you said, Danny. He should have hit A-Rob instead of waiting for the firehouse drill, whatever it's called, to happen.
The field, or based on the play that we're going to run. So he can't look sideways. He's got to do it. We addressed it a lot as an offense. Coach Nagy actually addressed it with the offense. We like the ball to come out faster, because when you're holding the ball in those plays, it was a play where he was able to hold the ball, but we've been around a lot of those where the protection, because of the timing of the snap, gets broken down quickly. So we don't want him to take unnecessary hits. So first of all, the ball has to come out, and if he's got to trust that Sam was correct in thinking it was offsides, which I believe it was offsides. So he's just got to trust the centers making that decision, and he's going to be right every time and go. You can't question it.
If you're sitting in the booth and you're looking down, the interception gets done, are you scanning for the flag on the field, and what's your reaction when you?
I at the snap of the ball, I noticed that one didn't come out, and I was shocked.
He doesn't want to get fined. He just said,
I love Bill Lazor. I love Bill Lazor interviews. Seriously.
Let me get rid of the guy that we hate, Aaron Rodgers. Bye, Aaron. Just kicked him out of the studio. But yeah, I mean, Bill, great analysis there, and whereas, and just to continue to pick up Matt Nagy, which is becoming the theme of all the shows on our station here. Matt Nagy in the press conference says no comment. Why couldn't he handle it just like Bill Lazor said? Yeah, I was surprised. Let people know that you were not happy with the non-call. It's just a simple thing, anyway.
Right. I mean, I don't know if he's scared he's going to get a fine by the NFL or not. It's to him, it's a missed call. And then also then breaking down what Justin Fields should have done, right? We just kind of booked on right here. We said, he had Allen Robinson open prior to even clean pocket, no one around him, could have fired it. That is as wide open a window as you can get in the NFL. Inside leverage, no one around him, could have let him, and it would have been a big play. But yeah, he's got to make that play and not always look to go for the big play, like in terms of a touchdown or anything like that. Hit Allen Robinson stride. That's going to eventually turn into a big play, maybe even a touchdown. Who knows what happens downfield? But he's got to go ahead and just pull a trigger real quick on these plays.
Answer Kelly's question. How is it that they are always focused on the quarterback looking for a defender to make a mistake, but they miss Rodgers' blatant pull of Mario Edwards' face mask?
We see it all the time, Kelly. What happens is always the second person. It's the reaction of the second person that always gets flagged, right? So Rodgers pulled the face mask. Apparently, I think Edwards was talking trash to Rodgers. Rodgers kind of just grabbed his face mask, and then Edwards, either I think he ripped the hand off his face mask, and again maybe even pushed him or something like that. But it's always the second guy that gets caught, right? A lot of times we see, a offensive player slap a face mask of a defender, and all of a sudden the defender pushes back. The defender gets called because that's who they saw. So unfortunately, those are plays that are not reviewable. If you could challenge those plays, and because those are big time, 15-yard penalties are, and like we talk here, it's a momentum swing, momentum killer, allows the drive to continue, and then the team goes on eventually and scores. I wish we could go back and say, hey, coaching say, look, the first guy did it, and then they could review it and then penalize, but that would be just a whole different can of worms there. Not talking about a 4-hour game if you're going to review all those plays like that. So.
Yeah, but it does fall on our theme here that officials can ruin momentum, with these stupid calls that they are more than likely to commit.
There was a holding call on Mustafa that I had no idea why they called holding on him for.
Yeah.
That was on a Herbert touchdown, I believe it was.
Exactly. My guy, Mustafa. Hey, George, how are you? All right, so the ball is turned over on the interception. Let me call up my next group of plays. And then Mario Edwards gets penalized. Is this the one? Yeah, it is. I think it's the one.
This is the 32-yard pass to Devontae Adams where Jalen Johnson was Jalen Johnson, guys, I'm a huge fan of Jalen Johnson. I was on here saying that this guy's developing right before our eyes into a shutdown corner, but there are a couple of plays, big plays that stuck out on film and on game day where Jalen Johnson just got beat. Now, Devontae Adams is one of the better, if not the best receiver in the NFL. Here, prior to the snap, I don't like Johnson's body, the way he's standing. He's just standing upright. He's not in his stance. He's not prepared, it seems like, for this play. Gets caught flat-footed as Adams goes ahead and just crosses his face mask, gets inside leverage quickly, and then he's just beaten. And now he's just kind of pulling to see if he can grab him and whatnot. And now he's just in a trail technique and trying to catch up from behind. So, just from the beginning of the ball, I don't know if he wasn't, he's just not prepared. He's caught flat-footed. It looks like he's anticipating outside leverage. Yeah. He's going to go ahead and cut the route outside. Maybe he was guessing on that. Maybe he picked up something on tape and he thought these are the kind of ways that Adams likes to run these routes. But again, just caught flat-footed there in the slot. Adams gets inside leverage, wide open after that. And now he's just trying, trail him and trying to catch him.
And then what do you think about Alec Ogletree being lured to his right and away from Devontae Adams? In my third grade mind, I'm thinking to myself, Rodgers wanted him to move to his right to create that space to Ogletree's left, and bingo. So watch.
If you want to watch Aaron Rodgers' eyes, he's not even looking at Devontae Adams initially. Right. He's looking to and he's drawing Ogletree there, and then boom, he hits back. He sees him in the corner of his eye, hits him in stride, and that's what makes Aaron Rodgers great. That's what makes these NFL quarterbacks so damn good. Is that and this is why repetition with these receivers, working with receivers, understanding someone. Rodgers and Adams have been playing together their entire career. So at least until when Adams came into the league, has been with Aaron Rodgers. So these guys have like a keen sense in terms of how these guys are going to run routes. Which plays, which position, what down they're going to take advantage of, how they're going to try to stem that route and get open and gain that leverage. it's just when you see the great players do it over on tape, it's just kind of mind boggling how they get it. And then just some other guys like Justin Fields and A-Rob right now are still working on that, right? They're not on that same page. And when you watch the tape, you can tell that earlier play, that should have been a big time play to Allen Robinson, but they're not on that same page, whether it's because Fields is a rookie and they haven't worked together. And hopefully that will kind of resolve itself as the season goes on, as they continue to practice and during the week, and then put it hopefully together on game days on Sundays too. But yeah, Rodgers looked away, and we talked about it all the time when he's starting quarterbacks. You talk about guys that can hold safeties with their eyes, hold defenders with his eyes. And this time Ogletree was reading Rodgers. He kind of drifted over to his right, paving the way, because then Rodgers knew that as soon as Adams cut inside, there was no inside defender that's going to be able to. But imagine if Ogletree went the other way, right? And that ball's coming to Adams. Now Ogletree has a clear shot at Adams there. It could be a rib shot. It can go. He could take his head off if he wants to. But he knows that he's going away. He's protecting his player, and now he hits him in stride, and bam, big play.
Yep, that is a huge play. Now, what happens afterwards? The momentum is definitely shifted now, right? But they go on to win to score a touchdown in 5 plays. 4 of those were 4 straight run plays. And none of those run plays was the explosive running plays that we would see later in the game Aaron Jones get. And so they have 4 straight run plays, and one of them is a shovel pass, the touchdown. So that's the 5th play on this. And so we're going to take a look at all 5 of these plays. I got the broadcast camera, and then in some cases I've got both the end zone camera and the all-22. So we'll start with the first run play.
Yeah, this is it's a 5-yard gain by Aaron Jones. And the one thing I want you to guys look at is this is why Eddie Goldman's so important. And this is why I'm thinking Roquan Smith's having a Pro Bowl year. If you look at this play, look at the way he just bench presses John running backwards. This is what we talk about being physical at the point of attack, being able to stack and shed your man as a run defender. Goldman just presses John running backwards, stacks it, finds the running back, and goes ahead and makes the tackle. The other player is Roquan Smith. If we can run this back real quick, Aldo, I want you to see Roquan Smith and take a look at his instincts. As soon as that ball is snapped, Roquan is jumping into the A gap, and what he does is in terms of your run fit, he's physical at the point of attack, and he does another great job of taking on a blocker, stacking a blocker, shedding him. He actually torques the center out of the way and goes in and helps with the tackle on the running back there as well. So this is a great example of why the Bears run defense has gotten better with Eddie Goldman coming back into the lineup. There are other players that are just getting bulldozer off their spot, being pushed backwards by just single blockers. Here he's taking on a blocker, bench pressing him into the backfield, and then stacking, shedding, and then going ahead and making a play on the running back. But then now you got Roquan Smith there as well, coming in with his physicality, his instincts to be able to jump into the A gap as soon as that ball is snapped, to identify run, to key off of whatever he's keying off of, to identify run, get into the A gap, take on the center, torque him out of the way, stack and shed. Again, you guys hear me say that all the time when I talk about run defense: stack and shed, and get in there and make a physical play and take down Aaron Jones for a minimal gain of 5 yards.
I've got a slightly different read on this play than you do. This is a 5-yard run, yet he was hit 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, and he basically got 4 additional yards because of his power and the offensive line surging forward. So this all-22 angle is a perfect example. I mean, I agree with you on Eddie and Roquan, but Eddie too is he actually pushed back by Runyon. Look at 76. That's Runyon.
At that
Goldman
point,
back.
At that point, he's taking down the running back, and now he's getting momentum by the running coming back from behind him and just kind of shoving him down. We've seen that happen at the goal line a lot of times, where running backs get stopped at the 1 yard line, and here comes the whole offensive line. It seems like just kind of pushing that that pile forward. So I think that's what happened here, where they caught him. I think right there that whistle should have been blown right there, because that was, in terms of the play, was stopped right there, but they allowed Runyon to go ahead and get back in there, even though he was being, for me, Runyon got beat right there by Eddie Goldman. Now he still has a hold of Goldman, so we don't have an angle to see if he's got a hold of his jersey or whatnot, because Goldman pretty much, bench presses him and then just has one arm over on Aaron Jones and goes ahead and kind of lays on him, and then now Runyon comes in and uses his body, his power to go ahead and just kind of move that pile forward. But for me, that could have been a pretty big play if Goldman doesn't get off his block, and B, if Roquan Smith isn't as physical and as instinctive to get into the A gap and be there to be a physical run fit there.
Okay, so they pick up 5 yards there. It's 2nd and 5. The ball now is in the red zone at the Chicago 17, and they go behind left guard again, picking up 8 yards. And this, again, we start with the broadcast copy.
And again, here, the one thing I want to point out here is again, Eddie Goldman's contribution that will go unnoticed. Here he takes on double team. Right? He's got two blockers coming at him, and that allows then Alec Ogletree to go ahead and slip into that A gap and get tackled, pretty much clothesline there by Newman. No penalty call there as well. But again, that allows, that's what Eddie Goldman does up front: take on blockers, keep linebackers clean, keep the second level defenders clean, and straight to and give them a path straight to the ball carrier. And there, right there, that should have been a holding call, in my opinion, on Royce Newman, because he just pretty much, like I said, clotheslines Alec Ogletree, who's stepping up into that A gap, similar to what Roquan did earlier, to be that physical run defender there. But again, he gets bulldozed out of the way there by a holding call, but that wasn't a holding penalty. That should have been called.
Yeah, that's number 70, Royce Newman there. And as you see right there, he reaches out for Ogletree and then drives into the ground, pushing him, shoving him. And it ends up being a big gain of 8 yards because of that missed penalty call. And as somebody said in the chat room, the referees just killed us. So now it's 1st down and goal at the Chicago 9. And it's just a small pickup of 2 yards. But the reason I wanted to share this play is because, again, for the 3rd time, Aaron Jones is running behind left guard. And really, Danny, they're running right at Eddie Goldman, aren't they?
No, and here, this is, I believe it's an inside zone run, and basically what they do is they double team the interior guys. So you're gonna have to block, obviously, the defensive linemen. So what they do is they double team Goldman and Akeem Hicks, right? Mm-hmm. And now you have Roquan and you have Ogletree sitting there in those A and B gaps to be able to go ahead and fill that run fit there too. So for me, this is a positive play because your defensive linemen are eating blockers, each one's eating 2 guys, and you have your linebacker sitting there to fill those 2 gaps, the A and the B gap. And now the other thing is the Packers do a nice job of being able to kind of chip and then release off of the double team and then get into some of those second level linebackers, and that gives them an ability to get couple additional yards instead of just letting Ogletree and Roquan fly free into the backfield to drop Aaron Jones for a loss there. But for me, that just shows the importance of having a healthy Akeem Hicks in there and a healthy Eddie Goldman in there to be able to solidify that run defense.
And you talked about Akeem Hicks. He's circled here. Look at the power. Just holding his man up and just not letting him be pushed back on that play. So it's only a 2-yard gain. The Bears have a chance at momentum, but on 2nd and goal at the 7, another 6-yard gain. So he's got gains of 5, 8, 2, and 6 on this drive. Aaron Jones.
Yeah, but this is, for me, this is on Tayshaun Gibson. I mean, if you take a look at here again, the guys up front do a good job of going ahead and taking on double teams, right? Allowing that Tayshaun Gibson to come in, clean here, unblocked, and he's got to drop Aaron Jones in the backfield. And this is what we're talking about. Our safeties, our theme here is with these safeties missing tackles. I don't know if it'll get any better or any cleaner in terms of an opportunity for Tayshaun Gibson to have a tackle for loss and especially bring a guy down in the backfield. But for me, the 2 guys up front, again, the stalwarts and Goldman and Hicks taking on those double teams, keeping those second level defenders to be, clean, basically straight to the ball carrier. And for me here, Tayshaun Gibson just blew it, missed that tackle.
Totally agree with that. Again, this is the broadcast copy. You see the missed tackle there by number 38. I first highlighted the 2 guards on the double team there. So like Danny just said, creates the lane for Gibson. And if you don't know who Gibson is, I'll circle him for you. Number 38, he just misses. Oh my
Right.
goodness.
Those are momentum killers right there as well. Because imagine if you drop them into the backfield now, it's a loss, it's a bad play. The crowd's into it. Next thing you know, they're probably going to end up throwing the football, and maybe you get them out of there, and you only hold them to a field goal. But the next play, we'll see what happens after that.
All right. So now it is 3rd and goal at the 1 yard line, and this, of course, is the touchdown.
Right. And this here for me, this is a terrific play design, but I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator or if it's the head coach. But what they do here is they use the Aaron Jones coming in motion there, and then the guard coming out and pulling to kind of take the eyes of the defender. Supposedly they're going to go that way, they're going to go left here. And what happens is Lazard comes nicely in there, and just there's a nice little shovel pass right to him, and then a little opening there, and then obviously Eddie Jackson hits him. But he doesn't bring his feet. He doesn't start, churning his feet and trying to, drive him backwards. So Lazard takes his momentum and then unfortunately drives Eddie Jackson backwards and into the end zone. But terrific play design. That motion, like I said, caught the eye of the defensive lineman and the pulling guard. A lot of linebackers, they key off of those guards. If a guard comes on, especially if it's a right guard, is going to come out, pull to your side, typically means that play is going to that side. Especially with the motion, that just kind of caught the defender's eyes, and then there's a little gap there, a little opening, for a nice little shovel pass right into that, into the end zone. So that was a nice play design, especially on a goal line situation.
That was so distressing to see. Again, we start off the game with such great promise, and now we're at a situation where the game is tied, and it's tied primarily because officiating mistakes, but then we don't fight through those officiating mistakes and instead make things worse with poor tackling. And that just is going to drive any coach crazy. This is not a Matt Nagy problem, or is it? I mean, is it a Matt Nagy problem and a Sean Desai problem and the rest of the coaching staff? They're not teaching their guys to tackle properly?
For me, it's got to be coached up, right? I mean, obviously these guys have been through, Pee Wee League, high school, college, and these guys know how to tackle. It's just, if you see a missed tackles on your defense, you're gonna have to rectify it. I remember when Lovie Smith was here, right? And there are 1 or 2 games where you see guys, missing tackles. He would say, we have to work on that, and sure enough, he would take care of it. I don't know how, if it's coaching staff, it was him. Yeah. They would rectify that situation. So the Bears, we've seen this now with our safeties, with primarily Eddie Jackson. And again, you've been on it, Aldo. I got to give you credit for it. You've been on him for the last couple of years. I've been more so defending him because I just didn't think he was being used correctly in the Pagano system. However, and I always would say Eddie Jackson is more of a ball hawking safety, a guy that can let him go back there, let him jump routes, let him make interceptions. But you know what, Eddie Jackson, you haven't been done that. Your last interception was in 2019, my friend, and you have not been able to, be a sure tackler. So if you're not going to tackle, if you're not going to create turnovers, I'm not sure what the Bears are paying you for. So that's the thing. And I'm a huge Eddie Jackson fan, and I don't want to, this to go out as if I'm knocking the guy, but he's got to get better. He's got to get better in terms of his tackling ability. There's another play we're going to show again, like a momentum, backbreaker, if you will, later on in the game. And I think you guys know which play we're gonna point to, where again Eddie Jackson just doesn't wrap up and tackle. It's these damn shoulder tackles where defenders bounce off him or he bounces off these guys, and gets up big plays. And we saw it week 1 versus the Rams. We saw it versus Cleveland. We saw it in a number of different games. He's active. He's around the line of scrimmage. There are times where he's aggressive and he makes a tackle. But it's times where he's the last line of defense and he misses those tackles. Those are, backbreakers. Those are momentum killers, and those are momentum gainers for the other team. So, that's the thing. It's you got to work to fight. Sean Desai, whether it's you or your position coaches, you got to get these players to start tackling, wrapping up, stop dropping the shoulder. And it's not just Eddie Jackson. We saw Tayshaun Gibson miss tackles. We saw Deion Bush miss tackles earlier this year. I think the Bears have a safety problem. And that's the thing that I've been harping on so far is I feel good about the defense. The corners are young. We see some improvements, some play, making potential at corner there as well. It's those safeties, whether it's confusion in coverage, whether it's the missed tackles. Those are what give me pause in terms of saying, this Bears defense is back to being, a top 5, top 10 defense.
Yep. So funny that you mentioned that, because Sean Desai was asked about the problems Eddie Jackson is having with his tackling. And Sean Desai didn't try to cover it up. He talked about it, and he was asked a follow-up question about what are some of the good things that Eddie Jackson does. And these are his two responses to those questions.
Point out pretty eloquently some issues with the tackling, and there are. We're not going to shy away from those issues. We got to address them and attack them, and we got to do it at all levels of the defense. Because a lot of usually a function of explosive plays, usually in my experience, comes with one of two things: it's either tackling or a miscommunication or a bust. If they get us on something schematically, then hats off to them. And, they got me in terms of a play call that they got me on. And that's what happens in this league. Sometimes you get that as a coach and a player. And so we got to do better overall. And that's been a continued point of emphasis. And we got to do a better job. I got to do a better job coaching tackling, quite frankly. And then, obviously, we got to execute better.
What is Eddie doing well this season? Because he is allowing you to disguise coverages.
That's right.
I mean, there are...
I think he's doing a really good job of understanding what we're trying to get done with the whole defense. He takes a command out there in the back end because it's not easy to play safety for us. There's a lot of adjustments and tools that they're responsible to make on the fly based on what they see from an offense. And so he's got great command of that. And so all those things he's doing well. He's in the spots that we need him to be. And quite frankly, sometimes when you're in those spots and you're a good productive player that's got history in this league, quarterbacks don't go that way, right? And so I think that's what he's doing a good job of. He's also allowing us to create some matchups. You saw it versus the Raiders where we were able to put him down and play nickel. And that's going back to what Jalen provides. Eddie provides the same thing in terms of knowledge of the defense and where he's supposed to be and understanding different roles. So we're allowed to do some multiple things when necessary with him. And again, not an easy thing for a guy to play out of position, on a game week, but it's a credit to how he prepares.
What do you think, Danny?
Well, he's right, and we talked about it on previous shows where when the Bears give up big plays, typically there's a defensive coverage breakdown or there's a missed tackle, right? I mean, it's very rare that they're out schemed or there's something where Sean Desai has been caught with his pants down, if you will. So there are plays that has happened as well, but there are good coaching staffs all around this NFL. But it's priority or majority of the time it is a defensive breakdown in the secondary. Most likely at safety, or there is a missed tackle, and that leads to a big play. We saw it in the Rams game, like I said, we saw it in the Cleveland game, we saw it in this week's game. I'm sure if we go back and see every single game, we probably see a play or two where there's a communication breakdown, there is a missed tackle. But with Sean Desai, he's trying to come to defense of his player. Yeah, so basically he's saying he knows the defense well. He knows, where to line up guys. And that's part of being a leader back there. That's part of being that safety because, you're a last line of defense, but no one's throwing at him. Is that why he has no passes defense this season? No interceptions. His last interception was in 2019 because no one was throwing at him. He only had 5 pass defense last season as well. I find that hard to believe. There are times where you see him getting out of position. There are times where he is providing over-the-top coverage or help for a play that doesn't go his way. So you do see some of that on film, but I don't believe that they're not throwing his way. My biggest thing with A. Jackson, again, you're a playmaking safety. Yet what was it in 2018? He had 15 passes defense. 2 touchdowns. Was it 6 interceptions? He had. That's the safety that they paid. That's what they want. They're not getting that right now. And if you're not going to be a tackler at safety, that's doubling, in terms of what you're not doing out there. So for Eddie Jackson, he's never been a great tackler, but I need him to wrap up. Stop with the shoulder tackles. If you're going down there and you try and wrap up and the guy is just bigger, stronger than you, he breaks your through your tackle. Okay, what are you gonna do? At least you gave it a shot. But there is nothing in terms of him trying to give it an effort in terms of trying to wrap up and secure that tackle. And in terms of coverage, you got to make turnovers. You got to get that football back on defense. And he was the prime guy that would cause those turnovers back in 2018. And he just hasn't done that.
Eddie Jackson, I believe, is he's 27 years old. So he's still in the prime of his football career. Now, whether he's already peaked and it was the 2018 season was really the prime, is the question, can he ever get back to that level? That's the question we have to see the rest of the season, because if not, it's time to say goodbye.
I believe he can, although I haven't given up on the kid, and like I said, that was only his second season in the league, and it's hard for me to believe that he peaked in the second season. I just feel like for whatever reason, right? I think somebody mentioned in the chat, is he making business decisions? He doesn't want to get injured. He's not a big, strong, bruising safety. It was never going to be that physical intimidator in the middle of the defensive backfield, but he was always going to be a guy that was going to fly to the football, get his hands on the ball, and and get interceptions or pass breakups, and that's why he did it. That's why he did it at Alabama, and that's why he did his first couple seasons here with the Bears. But that has stopped. So if you're gonna not do that, and you're not gonna tackle, then what are you gonna do? And again, you're the safety, you're the last line of defense, and we need you back there to be reliable and at least to bring down a ball carrier. I'll let you go here in the next play, but we'll see in our next clip there later on the show how again, the shoulder tackling ability it just drives me crazy.
All right, so before we get to that, what I chose next as the next momentum killer is the next offensive series for the Chicago Bears. So again, let's look at this from the top. Bears defense goes out and gets Aaron Rodgers out without them scoring any points, without the Packers scoring any points. And then the Bears march down and score a touchdown. They're up 7-0. Then the Bears defense, 3 and out. They get Rodgers out quickly. Then the Bears move the ball to midfield, but the interception because of the confusion, they thought there was a penalty and so forth. And then it comes back and the Packers score the touchdown that we just saw on a methodical drive, but one big explosive play. So the Bears now have to seize momentum back, right? So what happens? Let's take a look, because the sticker says it right there. It's 3 and out. Go ahead, Danny.
Right. So again, we talked about Justin Fields just not pulling the trigger fast enough on so many plays. And this one here, this first play was just the ball just slipped out of his hands. So he had Komet there for a minimal gain, but the ball, for whatever reason, I've never seen it. I thought it was tipped at the line of scrimmage initially.
He was pulling it back, Danny? It looked to me like maybe he was pulling it back. Watch.
Maybe. I mean, initially I thought it was tipped at the line of scrimmage, so I had to watch this play over and over again and saw that. I thought maybe it was hitting the lineman's in the helmet or in the shoulder pads of the lineman, but no, it was it just kind of fell out of his hand. It looked like he was going through his motion. It didn't look like he was trying to stop the football. So I don't know if he was trying to pull it back. It doesn't. If from just looking at this replay, it just looked like the ball just came out of his hand.
This one, watch. It's like, come.
But he falls right through with it. Yeah. And so I don't know. It just looked like he was just going through with his motion, trying to get to the ball to Komet, and just the ball simply just came out of his hand. But we had a game this past week. Quarterback tried a pump fake a couple of times, and the ball just kind of came straight out. Right. So that that was different. I think it might have been Roethlisberger, but it was just like that was different. He was just trying to pump fake it, and he trying to stop it. This one, he just looked like he was going to follow through, get through his motion, and the ball just simply just came out.
Do you think that maybe, and Marty, I think it may have hit on what I was just going to say, is that he saw the Komet guarded so quickly. He saw the linebacker, and that maybe he thought maybe this is going to be intercepted, and that impacted his release.
If you go ahead and run that play, Komet is open, like right there. And look at his motion. He's getting ready to throw the football.
Yeah, you're right.
That is a huge window, guys. And I know the linebacker is charging hard, but you know what? Komet's a big tight end, and you're just gonna have to trust your guys to go ahead and make a physical, make the catch through contact, through physical contact. So he's getting ready to throw the ball to Komet there, and I just believe that you hit the guy in the numbers in between 8 and 5, and then from there it's on Komet in order to make that play or not. So you can't worry about that. But that's a wide open window there. You got to get rid of the ball quickly, and he was trying to. From what it looks like, simply the ball just came out of his hands.
Okay, so now it is 2nd down and 10, and they're going to go with the run play.
Yeah, so this is the 1 yard to Herbert, and inside zone run. Initially Mustafa and Whitehair do a nice job of double teaming here. Whitehair then is going to go ahead and release to that second level. James Daniels does a good job of chipping and releasing to that second level linebacker. The culprit here though was Wilkinson. He just couldn't maintain his block there on Dean Lowry and seal off that backside defender, and that. And they end up just coming down the line and making a tackle there. So for me here, 4 out of the 5 guys do a good job in terms of their blocking assignments. It's the one guy, Wilkinson there, who was starting for the first time this game. Just wasn't able to maintain that block on Lowry. He was able to go ahead and flatten down that line of scrimmage and get to the running back and then drop him for just a 1-yard minimal gain.
Dean Lowry had an excellent game.
Yeah.
I looked
Northwestern
at the
guy.
Yeah, he was making play after play after play. He was disruptive. He got some key stats. He had a good game. So now it's 3rd down and 9, and of course we know what's going to happen.
Right. And this is one here. Remember we talked earlier about Justin Fields missing some plays, missing some throws. This one here, I count 3 receivers that he could probably got the ball off to on this play when I reviewed it. We'll go one at a time here. So real quick, if we run the play here real quick, although we can go and stop it right there. Right now we have Cole Kmet wide open underneath there. He was in there to block. He chipped and he released. So if you want to get rid of the ball real quickly,
30-yard line. Okay, go ahead.
Right. It's he's got a linebacker maybe charging on him, but Cole Kmet's a pretty big guy. He's not beyond the sticks. But if you want to get rid of the football there real quick, get it to him. He's a decent athlete. Could maybe break a tackle, maybe get the first down. That's the one target there he could have thrown at too. The second guy he could have thrown at is there. Darnell Mooney is running on the inside. He's running a comeback route to his right. And you see right now at Mooney right there as he's running that route, he's ready to go ahead and stem that route at the top of his right there. It comes in. Now he's going to come back, break it inside. So right there, you got to throw that ball. If he's back there looking at Mooney, he knows the route Mooney's going to run. He just goes back there and throws it, releases it before Mooney goes ahead and stems that route because he's going to run that comeback route. He gets it there to him, and that's going to. This is the Herbert run, but. If he's able to get that ball, had that timing down with Mooney, that's a big completion. That's a first down right there. So you see right there, boom, right there, release the ball, get it. Now Mooney does stumble a little bit at the top of his route, so maybe, but again, by that time, Fields has already moved on from him. He's not going to go ahead and throw it there. So the other guy was Allen Robinson, and this might have been the where I would have gone to here. Allen Robinson in that slot right there inside the numbers. He's got inside leverage on the defender. He's got it over the top safety. The defender releases him to that safety, and now you got him right there. So clean pocket, no pressure around him. Allen Robinson to his left, wide open, right there. You throw the ball into another huge window. That's a big gain. That's beyond the sticks. That's a first down. So right there, to me, 3 possible options there where Justin Fields could have got rid of that football. And then avoided a sack. Obviously, then holds on to it, tries to run out and run away, and then the defender catches him, tackles him out of bounds, and that's considered a sack because it was a loss. So for me, right there, reviewing that tape, those are one of the plays where I said Fields could have avoided that sack. 3 legitimate options. If you want to just get rid of the ball quickly, give it to Kmet, see what he can do. Again, he was, not at the sticks, but big guy with a linebacker, maybe breaks tackle, maybe gets a first down. Darnell Mooney, that was an option for me. Again, Mooney kind of stumbles out of his break on his comeback route. Maybe he didn't like that situation there. But for me, Allen Robinson was wide open, and we saw that. We stopped the tape. He was, he had no pressure in the pocket. Nice clean pocket. Robinson was open. He already stemmed that route. He was inside leverage. There was no defender around him. Actually, I think the defender in the middle of the field was actually flowing away from him. So that would have been a nice, big gain right there. Again, talk about momentum, right? The theme of the show, that would have carried that momentum on. Now, we're attacking downfield, possibly come more plays and you're in field goal range. So, you kind of stem the momentum of the Packers scoring by coming back and getting some points yourself. So, those right there are plays that I feel like Fields missed.
Do you think the play calling, we talked about this on Sunday on Bear Football, and it was mostly in the second half where you felt Matt Nagy's influence on the play calling was evident. Am I right?
Well, actually, that first drive right before Herbert scored a touchdown, that was a first and goal, and they line up in a shotgun, and they line up in these 4 diamond formation to the right, and the ball snapped, and he just shovels it to Kmet, and he's taken down for I believe a no gain or even a 1-yard loss. And I'm like, why are you doing that? It's first and goal. The last couple of weeks, you've shown your offensive line has proven that they could run the football. All right. The Packers are coming in underman on defense, right? The 2 top defenders aren't playing. What you can do is you can go ahead and really set the tempo, the momentum here of the game and just hand the ball off, get an easy touchdown. I think that was just something that Matt Nagy likes to design. That's typical Matt Nagy kind of play. I don't see a Bill Lazor, drawing that up and saying, we're going to run this here on 1st and goal. Just nonsense, right? So I think the second play after that was the handoff to Khalil Herbert, and he went in and he scored a touchdown. Great. And another opportunity was, I think later on, I don't know if it was the second or third quarter, it was a 4th and 1, and he's in a shotgun. Why are you in a shotgun? Justin Fields is showing he's comfortable under center. Go ahead and get under center, line up in the I formation, put a lead blocker there in front of Khalil Herbert, and go ahead and get 1 yard and get the first down. Now Herbert got the first down, but it was one of those plays where I think Adrian Amos came up and made a great tackle, and he barely got the first down. But why mess around like that? Why have you need 1 yard? Why line up 5 yards in the backfield in a shotgun formation? Get in under center. Get a fullback in there. I know Matt Nagy has said that he didn't come here to run the I formation, but damn it, if it's 4th and 1, you need to beat the Packers. You're 1-5 against the Packers. This is a big 4th down. You need to get it. Get an I formation. Get the first down, and let's continue on. Don't get fancy. Don't get all cute with it. So these are things that I was talking about post game that I saw that looked like there's some little naganisms in there. He's a little sprinkle in there here and there. And we talked about after the game. Justin Fields confirmed Bill Lazor was calling the plays, but we also talked about it, you and I and Tyler, on post game, that the final call is with the head coach. So Bill Lazor could have called the play, but Nagy might have said, run that play right now. And he is the head coach, and that's the play they're going to run. The other little thing that I saw that was a little bit of a tip for me in terms of why I think Matt Nagy was dabbling in the play calling there, was Justin Fields a number of times kept saying, run it again, because he couldn't, he wanted to hear the play over again. And he was looking down at his wristband. And, so those are things that the last couple of weeks, that was not the case. Justin Fields even said post game, or I think during one of these weeks, he said that Bill Lazor is just a calm, collective, he likes, hearing him because his voice is really calming. You never saw him go run it again. And not just like coming into the huddle, because a lot of times Fields, notice he's outside the huddle. He gets a play call. He runs into the huddle, gives the guys the plays, and then they go from there. But this is like he got the play, he came back, and he's like steps out of the huddle. It says run it again. So I don't know if it was like Lazor called the play, but Nagy's like no, call this play. So now,
some interference coming in, or I hear you, because he complained that Nagy gets excitable. So
right.
That's a very, very good point. Excuse me for interrupting. I want to tell Laz that we're going to get to your comment in just a moment. But first, I want to finish on this topic with Bill Lazor being asked, where is his comfort level with calling plays? And this was his response.
I think you're getting comfortable or getting in any kind of a groove now that you're in this role, in this offense.
I think anytime you get time on task and reps, I think the communication and the working together of the staff just should get better and better. And I think we're on track. I do. It's easier to say yes after we win. I mean, that's honestly, after you score 14 points, it's hard to say things are going well, because that's 14's not enough.
All right. So let's bring
to me, there's a subliminal message there for me as well, saying that, it's getting better. But it's not. He's not always. He, being Matt Nagy, is not giving me full control of this. He's always got his hands in there. And again, you're the head coach. He has every right to sit there during the week and come up with a game plan and help his coordinators come up with the game plan. No qualms about that. Again, he is the head coach. But if you're going to let Bill Lazor call the plays on Sundays, let him call the plays, right? Unless there's one play in the goal line situation that you feel like it's gonna work and you want to run it. Then you're the head coach and you go and do it. But 4 diamonds, receivers line up in a diamond formation to the left and a pitch to him. That's a KC play. That's something that he brought with him from the KC playbook, I believe, and that's not going to work here. You don't have the type of talent right now offensively to be able to get away with those kind of plays. So line up in the under center, hand the ball off. Let's get look at the Titans, for example. I love watching the Tennessee Titans offense because you know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball with Derrick Henry, and they're going to keep running the ball with Derrick Henry. Henry will lose 2-3 yards, but that's not going to detain them or stop them from running the ball. They're going to keep coming back at you with Derrick Henry, and they're going to say, you know what, stop this guy, try and stop him, right? And then they're going to use play action to use Derrick Henry. They're going to use play action, and they're going to have guys running underneath behind the second level of that defense and be in front of the third level, getting 10, 12 yards a pop, getting first downs and getting that ball down the field. They have an athletic quarterback in Ryan Tannehill, and he's able to use his legs sometimes to go ahead and get first downs and extend drives. That's, I think, the formula the Bears should be using right now. Is you have an offensive line. It's not great in pass protection. The tackles are getting better. Interior is getting a little bit better as well. But they've proven that they can go ahead and run block and get you positive yards, even if you're dropped for a 1 or 2 yard loss. Don't give up on the run play. Let's continue to work on that. Use the play action, and then use your athletic quarterback to go ahead and get better and get first downs and continue drives and keep the momentum.
All right, let's get to Laz's concern here, because not only is Danny Shimon a forensic scientist delving into the tape and finding out why this happened and why that happened, but Danny is also a therapist. And so Laz is saying that, man, I know Justin Fields is young, but you're not making me feel good about our franchise quarterback. Anticipate the route and get rid of the ball. I'm confident he'll get better with that. But Laz sounds a little bit worried here. So Danny, calm him down a little bit.
Yeah, Laz, RELAX, my friend. Relax. It's a rookie quarterback. Rookie quarterbacks go through this, they go through these type of spells, and especially a guy that feels for me, I think he's under a lot of pressure. He knows that the franchise is looking at him, but what makes me feel better, and unfortunately we didn't have time to go ahead and break down this drive, but that second touchdown drive where Justin Fields just, to me, felt like he was out there just running football plays and being the football player. You saw him making terrific throw to Allen Robinson on third down, dropping it in between the second and third level of the defense, feathering that ball with touch in between there, throws like that. That was the one where he was rolling out to his left and then found Allen Robinson. I'm like, no, don't throw it back in the middle of the field. But he threw a laser right into Allen Robinson. Again, accurate downfield. Those are the type of throws that you want to see this kid make. And he makes special type of throws, guys. And we've seen it in his first couple of games. We talked about the Detroit Lions game. The bucket throw down the sideline, that right sideline to Darnell Mooney. The play, the Raiders game where he threw that touchdown to Jasper Horsted, where it was just only Horsted was able to make that that catch. So the kid has that ability. He showed it throughout his collegiate career in terms of his accuracy downfield, his ability to make those big throws. And the kid's just a natural and born leader. He's got that leadership, ability, and you can see guys already kind of gravitating to him. Defensive players are coming up on the sideline, dabbing him up and giving him, joking with them and high-fiving and all that stuff. So I'm not worried about Justin Fields, guys. This is just a progress he's going to go to. Is he missing throws now? Is he holding on to the football right now? Is he leaving plays out on the football field right now? Yes. But the one thing about this kid, and I've been saying this from day one, is he make a mistake, he gets coached up, and he rarely makes the same mistake ever again. So, we were worried about him after that Cleveland game in terms of him being shell-shocked and being, hesitant with the football. But then he came back out against the Lions, made those throws, came back against the Raiders, make those throws. Again, in that Raider game, took a beating and just kept on coming back and showing his toughness. So, toughness, leadership ability, accuracy downfield. You just got to build around him now and just kind of let him, progress and get better as the season goes along. If Justin Fields is holding on to the football in week 17, like he is now, then you're like, all right, what's going on? Is it the coaching staff not getting to him? What's going on? Why is he not progressing? But by week 17, I anticipate, a guy that's going to be, going to look much more different, much more confident than it does now sometimes.
I hope that we see that sometime in 2021. But I will not be upset if I don't, because I think that for most quarterbacks, even some of the great ones, it's taken a full rookie season. And what I mean by a full rookie season, I mean 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games. You see it in the stats of the John Elways and the
Manning, 26 interceptions his rookie year.
Yeah. So he didn't get it right away in his full rookie season. It took him an entire year of playing and that off season to then all of a sudden, all right, now it's coming and so forth. And so maybe, we've heard a lot of great things about Justin's smartness and so forth, and maybe he will get it. But let's remember, it was an issue holding on to the ball. It was an issue at Ohio State It's going to be an issue during his rookie season, so I would not be surprised at all if it takes until next season. My only concern is, does he have the coaching to help him expedite that? I do believe that he has in DiFilippo, but hopefully Matt Nagy is not, messing this up.
Right, and I think that the tutelage of Justin Fields is DiFilippo, and you see him on the sidelines where after the drive, with Trubisky, you would see Nagy get in there, sometimes talk to him. No, this is all John DiFilippo. You see him sitting there looking at the iPad and going through the plays with DiFilippo, and I think that's where I kind of hang my hat on that, and I think he's doing a good job of trying to get this kid prepared and ready to play. But I mean, guys, Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville is struggling. Wilson and with the Jets is struggling. I mean, all these rookie quarterbacks are going to go through this. I'm not saying all these guys are bust. I'm just saying that these guys are going to go through the stages where they're going to start getting better and better. That fourth quarter drive where Justin Fields kind of led them down the field and he found Cole Kmet a couple of times and made that throw to Allen Robinson and he made that throw to Darnell Mooney. And those are the type of plays where you see this kid and his ability to go ahead and kind of get you back into the game. Made it a one-score possession game there. Made some nice, critical throws, some nice third down conversions, and now you saw him just kind of running around, playing quarterback. Those are the things, those are the glimpses you got to look at and say, all right, this kid's got it. And now just being more consistent throughout the whole game.
Danny, one other opportunity that the Bears had to regain momentum was at the end of the first half when Allen Robinson was wide open in the middle of the field. Now, I'll show the play, but I should have pulled the soundbite. Justin Fields says that he's not supposed to look downfield on that.
That wasn't his first read, right?
Right. To me, okay, but you still should have found them. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and we talked about it briefly after the game as well. But I mean, so he was rolling out to his left. His first read apparently is the guy in the flat. Now, but again, he's going to go back and look at this play. And now next time this play is called, now he's got to kind of keep it in the back of his mind. All right, my first guy in the flat, let me check, quickly here and the guy in the slide. What's going on here? And then you go back to your guy in the flat or keep the ball and run it. So I'm not sure what his progression was on that play, but apparently Allen Robinson wasn't primary in that play. It was the guy in the flat. And I don't know what the second progression was, if there even was a second progression, to be honest with you, because he said that was not a guy he was supposed to throw to. So it sounds to me like Allen Robinson was a decoy on that play, just to kind of pull that coverage that way to give the guy in the flat more space to deal with or work with, or possibly even Fields just to tuck the ball and run with it if the defender missed or something like that. So I'm not sure exactly the progression on that play, but he did say that he was not supposed to be looking at Allen Robinson. However, you saw that play now. You saw Robinson wide open. You missed it. Go back, and now you put that in the back of your mind. Say, all right, next time we call that play, let me just peek here and make sure the guy in the middle is not wide open running down the middle of the field. Right. So
I wish I would have pulled the all 22 on that one, because I would have liked to have seen, because on any play, I mean, they've been preaching that the Bears are, because of their new quarterback. And even when they brought in Andy Dalton at first, they were saying that they're going to be touchdown to check down. And right. So even if A-Rob is running a decoy pattern, you've got to be looking at the safety to see if he sucks into the decoy. And then you should notice, hey, wait a minute, number 12 is wide open. Let me just sling it over there. To me, it just seems like it was a rookie mistake.
It very could have been. Yeah, it very well could have been. I mean, maybe a veteran there, does quickly peek over there and just take a look and then and maybe throw that ball to Robinson. The other thing we're not having the all 22 on that one is I wasn't sure if maybe did Allen Robinson break off his route because he saw the coverage the way they were lined up. Was Robinson route not to go down the middle of the field? Maybe he was to run a curl pattern or whatnot, just to kind of take coverage away from that side of the football field. So maybe Robinson broke up his route and just said, hey, you know what? No one's covering me. Let me go middle of the field. Again, we don't know that because we're not in that offensive player, offensive meeting room. So we'll have to kind of just take Justin Edwards' word for it that wasn't part of his read. But again, take it, put it down, put a little post-it note back there in the back of your mind there and say, hey, this play is called again. I'm going to peek and see what's going on in the middle of the football field.
All right. So back to our storyline. we prior to that A-Rob miss, we showed that the Bears went 3 and out after the Packers scored a touchdown to tie it 7-7. After the Bears go 3 and out, the Packers then score a field goal. They have a explosive play on the very first play of that series. Dylan goes for 36 yards, and the Bears buckle down. They started that drive at the Green Bay 42. So after that 36, it put the ball on the 22, and the Bears held the Packers to 3 points. So it's 10-7. Then the Bears have that 9-play drive that only yields 20 yards, and they punt, and that's basically the end of the half. So we come now to the end of the half. In the first half, the Bears get the ball first, 4 plays and out. The Packers then scored their touchdown on a 9-play, 90-yard drive. The Bears are still in low momentum stage. An 8-play drive, only 35 yards, and they punt. They hold the Packers, they punt. Then the Bears score that beautiful drive, and I wish I would have put together a package of plays for Danny to analyze those for us, because it was a beautiful series, a 10-play, 80-yard drive, and Justin looked really good. But I wanted to get to the theme of the show, momentum killers, and that's what happened when the Packers got the ball next. They start off with a 1st and 10. Jones gets no yards. Then Rodgers hits Lazard for 13 yards. Then Rodgers throws an incomplete pass deep. At this point, the Packers said that they started to want to open things up a little bit. They felt like, they had been very, very conservative. In fact, they were going up to the line of scrimmage and using almost every second of the play clock because they wanted to limit the amount of shots guys like Quinn and Mack were going to level on Aaron Rodgers. They knew they were going to have some pass protection issues because of the injuries to the offensive line and so forth. So nonetheless, it continues, but they have this one big explosive play. It's like, oh my goodness. The 42-yarder to Devontae Adams. It is all yours.
Right. And this was a gut punch right here. So again, if we go back and slow it down, this is the TV copy here, but you're going to see that Jalen Johnson, again, is a culprit here. He goes ahead and tries to jam him, jam Adams aggressively at the line of scrimmage. Adams does a great job of just, breaking free of that release and then getting open. Johnson here, for me, really disappointed me with his effort. First of all, you missed a jam. He's disappointed. I understand that part. He looks like he thinks he's got safety help. Now, Eddie Jackson is shaded over to his side. So maybe he's thinking Eddie Jackson is going to go ahead and pick up Devontae Adams once he's missed. But Eddie Jackson, if you look at like that play, I think we'll see a better angle of it on the next replay. Eddie Jackson, Danny Trevathan picks up Randall Cobb in the slot, and now Randall Cobb is running a route with Danny Trevathan trailing him. So Eddie Jackson picks up that route and says, I'm going to have to give this guy some help, and that to me is the correct play, because if you look at it, you think Trevathan versus Cobb 1-on-1 downfield, that's a mismatch. So Jackson now is shifted over to Randall Cobb, and there he goes shifting over. Now he sees Devontae Adams coming free. He turns around. This is where Eddie Jackson can come in and make a play in terms of wrapping it up, because and so far everything he's done is good, right? He covers Randall Cobb. That's the right guy to go to. Sees Devontae Adams break open, shifts quickly over to that side, comes over, makes up nice ground to get to Adams, but he doesn't wrap up. And he doesn't wrap up. He does, again, the shoulder tackle thing that we've been talking about. And Adams continues to get another 13 yards, and luckily he steps out of bounds. But they eventually end up going and scoring anyway. But this is what we talked about. In terms of coverage breakdowns, Jalen Johnson looks like he gives up on the play. There's twice there. If we run it again, Aldo, if you can run it, he just slows down like he's jogging, and then he sees Eddie Jackson come up, and then Jackson misses a tackle, and then he starts picking it up again. This to me is an effort play. He's jogging there. Now he slows down. Now he's giving up on the play, jogging again. Now he's picking up again. What are you doing? You got to continue to play 100 miles an hour. I know you're disappointed. I know you thought you had him at the line of scrimmage and you missed the press, but you got to let that go. I mean, and cornerbacks, we've been told cornerbacks have to have short memories. Whether you get burned for a touchdown or you missed a jam here and the guy beats you downfield. don't give up on the play. Twice or 3 times here, you can see that he's just jogging, unless there's an injury that we don't know about. He was jogging towards Davante Adams. You got to bust your ass to get downfield and make a tackle. You cannot assume Eddie Jackson's going to make that tackle. And we see him slowing down there. And then we see him, once Jackson misses the tackle, we see him kind of pick up the pace there. And then he slows down again. So then it's like, what are you doing, man? You got to bust your ass and get this guy down on the ground. So that, to me, what Jalen Johnson really disappointed me there. And of course, I'm not sure if there was something going on in terms of the coaching staff, maybe might have reprimanded him. There was a big thing on Twitter where he came late to a meeting. He got fined. He posted on social media. And I think Nagy went on and met with reporters, had no idea it was out on social media. So, this is not a positive, development going on here with Jalen Johnson. First, that play right there, disappointing as heck. And then his the way he reacted to being fined. I believe things that happen in the locker room should stay in the locker room. I don't think players posting, 1 minute fine. I understand it was a little bit, crazy or whatnot, but we've heard Tom Coughlin, right? Players are there 5 minutes early for the meeting and still fine them because he wanted them there. It was 10 or 15 minutes. I forgot what his rules were. So, we've seen worse things happen. So, just go ahead and off of that performance, Jalen Johnson, just keep it in house. Don't post things on social media like that and make things worse for you. So that was very disappointing to me. Again, a big momentum swinger back towards the Packers way after the Bears had just scored and cut it to a 1-possession game. That was one of those, like I said earlier, it was like just a gut punch there.
Yeah. Last says immaturity, grow up, JJ. And it does feel that way. What was even more damning is when you pointed out the lack of 100% hustle in that play. That's aggravating. And then when you compound it by bitching and moaning that you were fined because you were late, not anybody else, you were late. Now let's listen to Sean Desai talk about Jalen's mistake.
Made a pretty good guy there with Aaron Rodgers. Sometimes they find you, when you make a mistake and it gets exposed. And so, but I thought he did a good job. That's not an easy thing to do for anybody in this league, especially when you're a corner, because we had him playing a lot of different roles and a lot of different assignments that he necessarily didn't have reps stacked up on him. So he did a good job overall, and we like that he embraces that role.
What has he done to earn that confidence and trust from you? And then just an extension of that, when he gets moved inside of the slot, what are some of the things that he has to expand in his skill set to be able to handle that?
Yeah, well, what has he done in terms of just his work ethic and his diligence, that he is focused and tries to prepare like a professional? And he's still a young guy now. And for him to learn all those roles that we're asking him to do, I think is a credit to him. And what, in terms of the second part of that question of what he's got to do differently or learn differently, there's a lot. The nickel's not an easy job in this league, and in our defense, it's not an easy job. And he's taken on that responsibility on himself to stay engaged in trying to learn everybody in the back end. And that helps. That helps, and that gives us some flexibility, and we appreciate that.
What do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I agree with Sean Desai. Like I said, this guy is becoming one of my favorite coaches on the staff right now. But I mean, we have to kind of. He made a good point right here. This was the first game that I saw Jalen Johnson shadowing a receiver across both sides of the field. And typically, he's an outside cornerback, staying mainly on the right side of the field. But now he was following Adams, all over the field. And both times where he showed these plays where they're big gainers, where was Jalen Johnson lined up in the slot? And that is a harder position, especially if you're a corner that you're used to being on the outside. Because remember, the outside corner, you have the sideline there as a helping hand, as a guy that can kind of limit the room, the grass in which the quarterback can throw the football to. Now you're in the middle of the football field, lined up in nickel corner. You have both sides. Like we saw right there, he missed a jam that gave Adams a big play potential, wide open area to go ahead and get downfield. In terms of as an outside corner, it's a different mentality, different play. Like I said, you use the sidelines as an assistant to you to go ahead and get him, keep that receiver in, somewhat detained there. So that inside corner, that's why you want quicker, shiftier, faster guys who, if they are being off the snap at the inside nickel, they're able to go ahead and get back into position and get back into phase with the receiver. So, that's a great point there by Sean Desai that, this is the first game that we saw, him moving all over, shadowing Davante Adams, and both big plays that he gave up were both inside and nickel. And I think this is a kid that's going to grow from this. Hopefully he uses this, like we talked about with Justin Fields. You see it on tape, put it in the back of your mind and just kind of learn from it and don't let it happen again. But this was, again, playing inside is very difficult, much more different than playing on the outside cornerback.
Marty is right that Jalen Johnson followed OBJ throughout that entire game in Cleveland. So that was the first time Jalen Johnson had done it, and it's the first time the Bears had done it since they had, I think, Kyle Fuller do it once under Vic Fangio. But it's something that rarely happens, even in the NFL. I mean, the cornerbacks that do it are the elite cornerbacks who follow the top wide receiver, because one of the issues with that is that you kind of give away a little bit of what your defensive scheme is, whether you're playing zone or you're playing one-on-one, if you're having that cornerback follow a receiver on every play. So a lot of defensive coordinators don't like to do that. Like Vic Fangio didn't like to do it. But I think, when you've got an inexperienced cornerback face opposite you, it's probably a good idea. And it's been working for the most part. It's been working. I mean, OBJ did not have a super great day, and Davante Adams really was held pretty much in check.
Right. That's the thing. It's those two big plays. Right. Exactly. I don't think they only have 4 receptions, 89 yards. But it was those two big plays, the 31-yarder, a 32-yarder, and a 41-yarder that obviously were the bulk of his yards there. But yeah, but the one thing, and I'm a good catch there, if he's, an OBJ covering him on side to side, but I don't think unless you guys remember differently, I don't know if he lined up in the slot on OBJ. So this might've been the first time he might've been in the slot, playing a receiver. And again, for me, Davante Adams is if not the best receiver in the NFL. And I think he's better than OBJ, especially OBJ coming off of an injury. Talented receiver, no doubt about it. But for me, Adams is a whole different animal than OBJ.
This is Sean Desai talking about explosive plays.
You go against, like you said, the Packers, and you give up 2 explosive passes and 2 explosive runs and 1 scramble run for 16 yards. And you hold Aaron Rodgers to 180 yards, you'd think you might have a shot. And we did have a shot. Now, was it a perfect game? No. And are there places that we can get better at? 100%. Are there places that we will get better at? 100% we will. And then, we got to make some critical plays in some critical situations that will help us get better. And so that's a function of me calling the game and then the players executing. So I think, our standard is our standard, and we want to play at a high level every snap. And I think that's the part that we're trying to emphasize, is ability to mentally and physically, obviously we know it's a physical game, but mentally and physically strain for 60-plus minutes. That's the challenge. And I think you feel a different way if 1 or 2 plays and the game goes different.
Yep. Those explosive plays, man, those are ball breakers.
That's the thing. It's like, yeah, you exactly. If we went into last week and I said, Davante Adams have 89 yards on 4 receptions, Aaron Rodgers only throw for less than 200 yards, passing, you think, oh man, the Bears are gonna win this game, right? Khalil Herbert runs almost 100 yards. But yeah, it's those 2 big plays that were the momentum swings, our theme for tonight, and that would help the Packers go ahead and come out with that victory. So and we were talking about after the game as well. The offensively, they were not able to keep that momentum when they gained it initially, right? It was just like a lot of 3 and outs, and even if the defense got the ball back for them and force the Packers to punt it, the Bears weren't able to kind of get back in the swing of things. Not until that fourth quarter drive where they made it was a 17-14. Did you feel like the Bears were kind of getting their groove back offensively?
Laz makes a good point. He says both Brady and Arians are motivated to pile up points on the Bears. Arians for not getting the Bears coaching job, and Brady for, of course, the 4th downs thing that he has gotten a lot of crap for. And he deserves it. I mean, you don't make him a veteran Hall of Fame, greatest quarterback of all time, should not have made that 4th down mistake. But he did last year, and thanks for that, Tom Brady. Your thoughts about this upcoming game, Danny? What do we do? What do the Bears need to do in order to come away with a victory in Tampa Bay?
Yeah, for me, like we talked about it briefly post game, that I don't have a good feeling about this week, guys. I'm just gonna be honest with you. For me, that the Bears formula is we've seen it, right? Run the football, ball possession, allow your defense to go out there and play with the lead, hopefully, and make, some nice, smart decisions with the football in terms of, getting the ball downfield. But the Buccaneers have, I think, last time I checked, they had a top 10 run defense, right? So running the football against these guys is going to be difficult. And if you go ahead and just, I hope they don't go ahead and do a Cleveland thing where they start dropping, 4 or 5 receivers into routes, 5-man protections. I mean, with JPP, and these guys up front, and Ndamukong Suh and all the other guys, they're going to end up, killing Justin Fields back there. So that's my concern there as well. Hopefully they have a smart game on offense. Defensively, and I like the way that the Bears would have matched up against these guys, but, we don't know the status unless you've heard anything recently, Aldo, about Robert Quinn. I know, the COVID thing that's bad. Akeem Hicks, it looks like he aggravated that groin injury on that sack on Aaron Rodgers. So he may or may not play in this game. We just talked about how him and Eddie Goldman kind of control the middle of that Bears defensive front in terms of that run defense. So you're going to be missing 2 starters. This is going to be a tough game. And like I said, right now, Tom Brady is hitting on all cylinders. He's not even utilizing Godwin and Evans to their potential. He's relying a lot on Antonio Brown. So he's got 3 damn good receivers.
Not play. He sat out
practice
today. Yeah, he sat out practice, so I think with an ankle injury. So his status is a bit up in the air. So
well, obviously that would help if he's not playing, but we'll see what happens there on Sundays. But yeah, so they're hitting on all cylinders right now. Bears are down 2 stars on defense. Offensively, they're hopefully they stick to the running game and establish a run game. If they can do that, then I think they can keep it competitive. But right now, I mean, I'm just having. But again, Tom Brady, how to stop him is get pressure in his face, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen over the years that's how you stop him. And if you can sustain pressure, if hopefully Quinn can play, hopefully Hicks can play, and you get that pressure up front, and just make him uncomfortable in the pocket. You can get to him, and if Brown is out, that's one less weapon. We forgot about Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette looks like he's been reinvigorated now, playing back there with Brady in them. So they have a run game that they could kind of rely on as well. He's been very, very reliable out of the backfield as a catcher, Fournette, that is. So another guy and then Giovanni Bernard comes in as another pass catching back that seems like everywhere Tom Brady goes, he needs to have one of those pass catching running backs out of the backfield. So, Bernard's playing that role for the Buccaneers now. So, offensively, like I said, they're loaded. Defensively, they're pretty tough as well. One area where they're susceptible right now, the Buccaneers, is the defensive cornerback position. I think they have guys that are hurt. I mean, they literally signed Richard Sherman off the as a free agent and had him start the same week. So that's how bad shape they are. So, if you could take advantage of them that way. But again, I do not want to put Justin Fields in any sort of position where he's going to possibly get hit and get harmed or hurt by the pass rush of the Buccaneers. Todd Bowles is very aggressive in terms of a defensive play caller. He's a guy that will like to blitz and bring a lot of extra pressure as well. So we'll see how it goes. But right now, I don't have a good feeling.
Well, I'm with you. I don't have a good feeling either, but I agree with Marty is that you have to stay consistent with the rushing attempts. Don't give up on it. Other teams have, and you have to make sure that those offensive linemen, are motivated to push forward and create some holes for Khalil Herbert, because it doesn't look like Damian Williams is going to play. It looks like he may not be off that COVID list in time for the game. So It might be Herbert having to carry the entire load. And so I got a lot of faith in that young man. You were totally right, Danny, when you identified him as a really good back. And so he could be the number one focus on this. And hopefully we get the tight ends. There seemed to be the start of some chemistry going on between Fields and Cole Kmet. And if we can see some progress there, if we can see Kmet get a 60, 75-yard catch day on 4 or 5 receptions, that would be outstanding. And boy, wouldn't it be nice if Jimmy Graham caught a couple of passes this year? So
that's mind-boggling. It's especially when you get into the red zone, it's like doesn't even look his way, and I just don't know. what's going on with the whole Jimmy Graham, experiment. Why even bring him back and eat that money if you're not going to utilize him? So that's something that really has kind of like, got me a little confused there. But yeah, I mean, if you could continue building that repertoire between Fields and Cole Kmet. I know Fields said that him and A-Rob we're talking this week in terms of getting on the same page. Hopefully that chemistry can build there. And then, it looks like Mooney and Fields are pretty good there in terms of, building that chemistry. And now just continue to add weapons, add guys that can make plays. And like I know he got hurt last week, but Jakeem Grant, I think, offers an element of speed on this offense that could be utilized if he's used in a proper way. I'm not saying, he's a starter or anything like that, but, get him in there, get him the ball in his hands, in the open field, allow him to do what he does best, make guys miss, and maybe create some extra. Again, with the Buccaneers, you're just going to want to kind of just methodically get downfield and just kind of keep the ball away from Brady and company, and hopefully put points on the board as well.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Who is it? I think it's Travis says, can't Damian Williams be tested Saturday and play Sunday? Yeah, he can. I think the concern is whether, there could be a test that is inconclusive or something like that. It seems like this has happened in the past with some players who have gone under the COVID protocol. So
if I get it correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong there, although, so if this means that he's not vaccinated, is that why he's out this long? And Robert Quinn, we don't know if he's vaccinated or not, but if he is vaccinated, then Quinn, if he has two negative tests, so if he has two negative tests within 24 hours, he could play Sunday.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct. And, everyone, this free country, you can make the decisions you want. There's no mandate on vaccines and so forth. But it does strike me as a bit funny that Damian Williams chooses to hold out the entire season because of COVID concerns. And then when there's a vaccine available, he doesn't take it. I don't know if that jives with me, but be that as it may, it's his decision. He's made it, and so hopefully he'll be available to play Sunday. The Bears could really use it.
I believe it was initially reported he was sitting out because of COVID, but I think what happened was his mom was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh.
And I think that's why he sat out. And I think he might have used the COVID thing to sit out. I'm not 100% sure. I heard something, I read something about that specifically. So,
well, I apologize, Mr. Williams, and I hope your mom as well. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, again, just, like I said, just because I don't have a good feeling about the game doesn't mean there are not going to be any positives coming out of this game, right? We talked about, Justin Fields continuing to kind of mature. And this is, for me, is going to be my main focus, is seeing how this kid progresses. Hopefully he continues to take a couple steps forward. With today, we pointed out some throws that he didn't make, but there were throws he didn't make in this game. And it was a one possession game, guys, in the middle of that fourth quarter. So, again, my focus is going to be on Fields. Hopefully he continues to take progressions, and next week we're breaking down some terrific throws from him and some playmaking ability from the other guys around him. So that's going to be my main focus, and hopefully the Bears can get in there and surprise us all and pull out a victory.
Yeah, and then on next week's show, regardless of what happens this game, we'll talk about the possibility of the Bears dumping some of those salaries. Maybe if they can find a suitor for a Jimmy Graham, maybe if they can find somebody that needs, a big defensive tackle for a playoff run, and somebody's interested in Akeem Hicks. I doubt that would happen with his injury issues. But the Bears could be at a point where they have to make a decision. Okay, are we really going to try to make the playoffs this season, or should we start preparing for next season and freeing up some salary cap space and maybe acquiring some more draft assets, because they don't really have very many. They certainly don't have a first-round draft pick next season, and are missing a fourth-rounder, I believe. So we'll talk about that. We'll break down some of the Bucs tape. We'll listen to what the coordinators have to say on Thursday. I like starting at 9. Do you want to maybe try that again next week, or would you prefer 8 o'clock?
No, 9 works for me.
All right. Well, for everyone here at the bar room, my name is Aldo Gandia. That good-looking guy over there, his name is Danny Shimon. Tell all the girls. Get you in trouble.
No, I'm single, so all the girls call me.
There you go. Reach Danny at DShimon56 in the Twitter machine, and as he said, he's single. Me, I'm still in jail. Talk to you.